Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham Dhammam Sangham Namasami. So thank you for joining me today. These two suttas came up for me. So probably something like 3 a.m. or something, early morning meditation. And sometimes the things connect in my mind early in the morning. And so we're going to speak about the gradual path. This is one of the reasons why these suttas seem very, I don't know. I like to bring in elements from one sutta that relates to another, so I could see the relationship. So this first sutta, we're going to read just a section of it, and this is the Danta Bhumi Sutta, which is translated as the grade of the tame or level of the tamed. So in the time of the Buddha, they had elephants and horses and different animals that they would train and tame, and a well-tamed, well-trained animal, they would categorize it, these beings in this way, but also as a for ourselves, that this training that we're undertaking on the Buddhist path. It's similar to taming or training an animal, like a elephant taken from the wild, or even a horse has to be what they call broken. You have to train and tame a horse in order to be able to ride the horse. So it's like our mind is that mind could just be wild and out of control, or we could gradually, kindly tame and train our minds. So a wild elephant can get into all kinds of, they can be very destructive if it's in the human habitat. In the wilds, it's fine. But in order for human beings to make use of and domesticate elephants, it took extensive training. So this is what the Buddha has compared this kind of gradual path to. And I don't know if we'll get to the actual, how far we're going to get. Actually, we're not going to get too far today, because I want to bring in right view in Shariputta's exposition on right view. And we're just going to look at the first section of it too. So anyway, I should start with the sutta. I will share that. I have Neonica at my side to kind of, I think. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm sharing the document, and then I'm going to go directly to the sutta at Sutta Central to start with. There we go. I'm getting a encouraging thumbs up. Yanika's needing to care for themselves in their room. Here is the level of the tamed, and this is how Bhante Sujato has translated Danta Bhumi. When I first saw this, I thought, realm of the teeth? What? Because Danta also means teeth, but Danta is tame, to train, to tame. And Bhumi is like a level or a realm or a gradation. So I'm going to read, and this is a sweet story to start with. So I have heard, at one time the Buddha was staying near Ragajaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrels' feeding ground. Now at that time, the novice Achira Wata was staying in a wilderness hut, in a kuti. Then Prince Jayasena was going for a walk. He approached Achira Wata and exchanged greetings with him. This is in the commentaries, it says that's King Bimbisara's son. And they probably are both youths because it's a novice and a prince. So they may have been friends before the novice went into robes. When the greetings and polite conversation were over, he sat down to one side and said to Achiro Wata, "Worthy Agivasana, I have heard that a mendicant who meditates diligently, keenly, and resolutely can experience unification of mind." So suddenly, this prince is talking about pretty deep experiences. That's so true, Prince. That's so true. A mendicant who meditates diligently, keenly, and resolutely can experience unification of mind. The chittasa, that's the mind or heart, and the egata, I've got it wrong. Ekagat. I'm not pronouncing it right now, but anyway, I'll get it another time. Ekagatan. So this is one pointedness. They're talking about some deep meditative state. Worthy Agiva Sana, please teach me Dhamma as you've learned and memorized it. And then this is a novice, and he's like, I'm not competent to do so, Prince. If I were to teach you the Dhamma I have learned and memorized, as I have learned and memorized it, you might not understand the meaning, which would be wearying and troublesome for me. So he may have not attained the state, but he may have memorized the teachings that would lead him to that. I'm just guessing that at this point. But he's hesitant to try to explain to this prince. Worthy Ajiva Sana, please teach me the Dhamma as you've learned and memorized it. Hopefully I'll understand the meaning of what you say. I shall teach you. If you understand the meaning of what I say, that's good. If not, then leave each to his own, and do not question me further about it, or further about it further. It's just a different sentence order than I'm used to. I'm used to Bhante Bodhi's translations, so I might be switching or word order. Worthy Ajivasana, please teach me the Dhamma as you have learned and memorized it. If I understand the meaning of what you say, that's good. If not, then I will leave each to his own and not question you about it further. Then the novice, Achirawata, taught Prince Jayasena the Dhamma as he had learned and memorized it. When he had spoken, Jayasena said to him, "It is not possible, worthy Ajiva Jivesana. It cannot happen that a mendicant who meditates diligently, keenly, and resolutely can experience unification of mind." So this is actually kind of humorous to me. Having declared that it was impossible, Jayasena got up from his seat and left. So he kind of was demanding a teaching, and then he wasn't satisfied with it. It left kind of rudely. Not long after that, he left. Achirawata went to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and informed the Buddha all that they had discussed. When he had spoken, the Buddha said to him, "How could it possibly be otherwise, Ajiva Sana?" So this is his clan, the novice's clan name, and then I think it's his personal name or ordained name is the other that's being used here. But this is a Brahmin clan name. It came from the Brahmins. Prince Jayasena dwells in the midst of sensual pleasures, enjoying them, consumed by thoughts of them, burning with fever for them, eagerly seeking more. It's simply impossible for him to know or see or realize what can only be known, seen, and realized by renunciation. Suppose there was a pair of elephants or horse or oxen in training who were well tamed and well trained, and there was a pair who were not tamed or trained. What do you think, Ajivasana? Wouldn't the pair that was well tamed and well trained perform the tasks of the tamed and reached the level of the tamed? Yes, sir. But would the pair that was not tamed and trained perform the tasks of the tamed and reach the level of the tamed, just like the tamed pair? No, sir. In the same way, Prince Jayasena dwells in the midst of sensual pleasures, enjoying them, consumed by thoughts of them, burning with fever for them, eagerly seeking more. It's simply impossible for him to know or see or realize what can only be known, seen, and realized by renunciation. Suppose there was a big mountain not far from a town or village, and two friends set out from that village or town, lending each other a hand up the mountain. Once there, one friend would remain at the foot of the mountain, while the other would climb to the peak. The one standing at the foot would say to the one at the peak, "My friend, what do you see standing there at the peak?" They'd reply, Standing at the peak, I see delightful parks, woods, meadows, and lotus ponds. But the other would say, it's impossible. It cannot happen. Standing at the peak, you see delightful parks, woods, meadows, and lotus ponds. So their friend would come down from the peak, take their friend by the arm, and make them climb to the peak. After giving them a while to catch their breath, they'd say, my friend, what do you see standing here at the peak? They'd reply, standing at the peak, I see delightful parks, woods, meadows, and lotus ponds. They'd say, so the other one would say in reply, just now I understand you to say it's impossible, it cannot happen, that standing at the peak, you can see delightful parks, woods, meadows, and lotus ponds. But now you say, standing at the peak, I see delightful parks, woods, meadows, and lotus ponds. And the other would say that he's saying they'd say, but the other one would reply, but my friend, it was because I was obstructed by this big mountain that I didn't see what could be seen, but bigger than the mass of ignorance by which Prince Jayasena is veiled, shrouded, covered, and engulfed. But bigger than that is the mass of ignorance. So Prince Jayasena dwells in the midst of sensual pleasures, enjoying them, consumed by thoughts of them, burning with fever for them, and eagerly seeking more. It is quite impossible for him to know or to see or to realize what only can be known, seen and realized by renunciation. It would be no wonder if, had these two similes occurred to you, Prince Jayasena would have gained confidence in you and shown his confidence. But, sir, how could these two similes have occurred to me as they did to the Buddha, since they were neither supernaturally inspired nor learned before in the past? That just sounds just like a teenager would respond. And then the Buddha goes on, and he goes into a simile of training an elephant and taking them from the wild. But I am going to go now directly to the document I've prepared, because I want to dovetail in this other sutta, which when I was looking at it more recently, I was going, whoa, it seems like a stretch, but it isn't. So this gets into right view, and this is the start of the path. And those of you who've listened to the sutta that I had covered in 3 parts before, the Majjhima Nikaya number 39, the Greater Discourse at Asapura, it went over the gradual path. And but the Noble Eightfold Path is the gradual path. But it's just a different way of approaching it. So it's more like kind of the theory of it. And then the gradual path as it's presented in the 2 suttas, these 2 other suttas in the Majjhima Nikaya 39 and also the Danta Bhumi Sutta. These are talk about monastic training. But this sutta starts out, there's like, I think it's 16 ways of understanding right view. And this is Venerable Sariputta speaking, and this is Bhante Bodhi's translation. And he's talking about understanding the wholesome, the unwholesome, and it's then the roots of the wholesome and the unwholesome. So this brings in kind of like a really, it's not, I guess you almost could call it theory, but there's a kind of an understanding of the underlying trainings that anyone would go through when we're starting to work with our sila, working with sense restraint, abandoning the hindrances. All these things have this foundation. This is the really basis or foundation for all those trainings on the gradual path. So I'll read this through, and then we'll get back to the sutta we started with in this document, and we'll start seeing the connections. So this is Venerable Sariputta, and he's talking to the mendicants. But it's interesting because this can be for anyone, whether you're in robes or not. One friend, a noble disciple, understands the wholesome and the root of the unwholesome and the root of the unwholesome, the wholesome and the root of the wholesome. In that way, he is one of right view, they are one of right view, whose view is straight, who has unwavering confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at the true Dhamma. And what, friends, is the unwholesome? What is the root of the unwholesome? What is the wholesome? And what is the root of the unwholesome? Killing living beings is unwholesome. Taking what is not given is unwholesome. Misconduct in sensual pleasures is unwholesome. False speech is unwholesome. Malicious speech is unwholesome. Harsh speech is unwholesome. Gossip is unwholesome. Covetous is unwholesome. Ill will is unwholesome. Wrong view is unwholesome. This is called the unwholesome. So this is 10 unwholesome actions or deeds. And what is the root of the unwholesome? Greed is a root of the unwholesome. Hate is a root of the unwholesome. Delusion is a root of the unwholesome. This is called the root of the unwholesome. And what is the wholesome? Abstaining from killing living beings is unwholesome. Abstinence, this is abstention, I think is what it is. From taking what is not given is unwholesome. Abstaining from misconduct and sensual pleasures is unwholesome. Abstaining from false speech, abstaining from malicious speech, abstaining from harsh speech, abstaining from gossip, uncovetousness, non-ill will, and right view. These are all wholesome. This is called the wholesome. And what is the root of the wholesome? Non-greed, non-hate, and non-delusion are wholesome. These are wholesome roots. And when a noble disciple understands this, they entirely abandon the underlying tendency to lust, abolish the underlying tendency to aversion, and extirpate the underlying tendency to view and conceit I am. And by abandoning ignorance and arousing true knowledge, they here and now make an end to suffering. In that way, a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has unwavering confidence in the Dhamma, arrived at the true Dhamma. So this is the whole Noble Eightfold Path compressed into this first understand this, which seems very foundational at first, but then through this, a person can come all the way to the end of the path. This is a description of arahantship. So this is Bhante Sujata's translation of this same a shorter section of the same sutta. But what is this unskillful and what is its root? So he says unskillful rather than unwholesome. And this is akusala. And what is the skillful and what is its root? So here's akusala and kusala here. So then it's killing living creatures, stealing, and sexual misconduct, speech that's false, divisive, harsh, or nonsensical, and covetousness, ill will, and wrong view. So I'm going to skip over that Pali for now. So here we have akusala, and this is unbeneficial actions, unskillful deeds, the unwholesome. So na kusala became akusala. And this is interesting too. Akusala is also unhealthy, unwholesome, unskillful, unbeneficial, comically unprofitable. So it's bad karma when we act in the ways that are unwholesome. And the roots, the unwholesome root. So we have here lobha, dosa, moha. Mostly people have an A ending when they just speak about these. If you go to different teachers and they're using Pali terms, and these terms come up, lobha, dosa, moha, often as as a group, because of the three unwholesome roots. And then it's akusala mulang. This is mula is the root, and so there's an unwholesome root. So I think those of you who have taken the precepts will recognize a number of these. See, avoiding killing living creatures, avoiding stealing, avoiding sexual misconduct, avoiding speech that's false, devices harsh or nonsensical, contentment, goodwill, and right view. So we have here 3 bodily, avoiding killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. These are 3 avoiding those behaviors is considered a wholesome behavior. So the absence of it. And avoiding speech that's false. So this would be true speech, speech that's unifying. And so it's just avoiding harmful speech. And then these are 3 bodily actions and 4 verbal actions and 3 mental actions. So that makes 10. So there's 10 ways of doing skillful deeds. And their detailed explanation is in Majjhima Nikaya 41. And these are also called the 10 wholesome actions, 3 by body, 4 by speech, 3 by mind. So there's 10 unskillful and 10 skillful, or 10 wholesome or 10 unwholesome actions. And this appears in the Lam Rin. Is that Lam Rin teaching, the Tibetan really their foundational teachings too. These come up as important. So kusala is healthy, beneficial, good, wholesome, comically profitable, skilled, clever, competent, expert, adept in. So the wholesome roots are just the opposite, the lacking of the unwholesome. So abstaining, basically. But see, it's non-greed, absence of desire, and moderation. That's interesting that that's there. And then adosa is non-hatred, kindness. So the opposite of hate. And amoha is wisdom, clear understanding, sanity, freedom from ignorance, non-delusion. Often it's translated as non-delusion, and moha is translated as delusion. Yeah. So that's the opposites. And Bhante Sujato translates aloba as contentment, and adosa was a non-hate, as, and sometimes other teachers too translate it as love or loving kindness. So the opposite, to understand the opposite of it. There's like the absence of it, and then what's also opposite of it. So wisdom would be opposite of delusion, clear understanding, sanity, freedom from ignorance. So I'm jumping back to this sutta that we started out with. Try not to be too confusing, but so the dialogue between the prince and the novice, and here's the prince is imploring the poor novice, who was probably trying to have some seclusion. He bursts in and he's demanding to know something he had heard about. So this is like really strong desire here. He said, let Master Ajivasana teach me the Dhamma as he has heard it. mastered it, perhaps I can understand the meaning of his words. So he's just like very full of desire here. And I shall teach you the Dhamma, Prince, as I have heard it, mastered it, if you can understand the meaning of my words. That would be good. But if you cannot understand the meaning, then leave it and at that and do not question me about it further. So this has gone back and forth a few times, and the novice teaches the prince as he had heard it, and then the prince remarks, "That's impossible. You can't happen that a bhikkhu who abides diligent, ardent, and resolute can achieve unification of mind." I think he was probably seeking after some like some people hear about something fantastic, meditation, and then he's wants the easy answer to it, and he's not getting it. And so, having declared it to he would that it was not impossible, it could not happen, he rose and departed. And then I'm just going to summarize this quickly because but the reason why I'm bringing this up again is because this is showing this being who's lived a very privileged lifestyle, and just surrounded by all this, being a prince, he probably didn't have so many duties at that time. And he's living in the midst of sensual pleasures, enjoying sensual pleasures and being devoured by the thoughts of sleep. So this is a unwholesome, right? The unskillful that the Buddha was talking about, and this is blocking our ability to see. So that was that simile about the mountain being in the way, and then bringing in the taming of the animals. And that this is the training and taming I was talking about earlier, that this process of being on the path is training and taming ourselves, training and taming our minds. But it's body, speech, and mind. So when we're keeping the precepts, it's through body and speech. We're taming and training our activities through body and speech. And as we tame our minds, that then keeping the precepts becomes easier and easier. It works back and forth. And this is on the gradual path. The first thing they tell the monks is to keep the precepts they've taken, to keep the patimokkha. And for lay disciples, it's 5 or 8 precepts. So this is how we're taming and training ourselves. So I don't think I need to reread the whole. That was Bhante Sujato's, Bhante Bodhi's translation. You might have been looking at it while I was talking. So wouldn't the pair that was tamed and well trained perform the tasks of the tamed and reach the level of the tamed? So Sudanta is well tamed, well trained, well controlled. I didn't put all the definitions here, but Danta also means tooth. It's just like that's just a side, but it's just to avoid, because when I first saw that, like I said, and Su Vinita is well trained, well disciplined, well educated. And then I remember one time I was looking into this Vini having to do with Vinaya, but I don't have the notes I had from that time, so I can't show you. I and Yannicka might be able to say something about it, but they're not in the room with me. So, but it's interesting. This is the discipline, our discipline. Um, so standing on the top of the mountain, friend, I see lovely parks, lovely groves, lovely meadows, lovely ponds. And the other would say, friend, just a little earlier, you said, I heard you say it is impossible. It cannot happen. So this is what the prince was saying to the novice. This can't happen. You can't attain unification of mind. He was probably describing what it was like, and the prince couldn't imagine the mind being quiet and calm and peaceful and unified, because his mind was probably all over the place seeking things. Ah, because I was obstructed by this high mountain, friend. I did not see what was there to be seen. So this is also the thing when the mind is calm, still, unified, then we're able to see things according to reality. So this is actually quite a ways on the path of training and taming our minds. And this is why the prince may have been reluctant to say anything because he hadn't actually experienced it yet. He was still working on the fundamentals, which are extremely important, but he wasn't there yet. So it is impossible that the prince, in the midst of sensual pleasures, could know, see, or realize that which must be known through renunciation, seen through renunciation, attained through renunciation. And I'd like to say moderation here, and that's why also I pulled in that sutta, the right view, the foundations of right view with understanding the skillful or the wholesome and the unskillful or the unwholesome, and understanding their roots, and that leads all the way to arahantship. And just the practice of keeping 5 precepts, at least the stream entry. There's some discussion with whether that Sariputta was talking about arahantship or stream entry, or both in one after the other in succession, which is, I think, is what he was actually talking about. It's a gradual path, so we have to have these foundations of moderation or renunciation for those in monastic life, and keeping our precepts well and understanding the unwholesome roots. But bigger than that is the mass of ignorance by which Prince Jayasena is veiled, shrouded, covered, and engulfed. So this is like an extreme. This is like he's totally indulging in sense pleasures, because as a prince, he doesn't have much else to do. Maybe he's learning some of the skills of archery or something. I don't know, but he's also has a lot of time at his hands for other things. So here we have Avijja Khanda, massive ignorance, heap of not knowing. So we have Avijja. Avijja is related to moha, the delusion. But this is like really the core. There's the roots. I don't know. This is like I guess it seems almost like Avijja is stronger. It's the first link of dependent origination. So that shows how, but the moha, it may be just the same. It could be interchangeable, but these words, synonyms. This is awuta, covered, concealed, hidden, enclosed, surrounded by, blocked, obstructed, hindered. So, so this is pretty strong words. So this is as far as I've gotten in my, and I thought it would be a good place to stop too for discussion and questions. So it can stop the screen share and then open up if anyone has a question. I and Yannicka may have found something about the word that we need, suvinita or something, that word I was looking at earlier. Suvinita, well trained, well disciplined. Maybe not. Does anyone have a question or comment? I hope this wasn't confusing, leaping from one very different seeming sutta to another. But for some reason, like I said, they link up in my mind. I see the connection. Anne has a hand raised, please, Anne.
Uh, I'm just still struggling with unification of mind. I guess it's because I'm not getting these hindrances and renunciation very deeply, I suppose. Do you have any help there? Any advice?
Yeah, so yeah, there was kind of a big leap for the prince to come in and demand that a teaching on unification of mind. But it's like for all of us, when we've been practicing for a while and if we're keeping our precepts well, uh trying to really be observant of our minds throughout the day. I think it's a mistake to just think it's just the time on the cushion. We probably don't think that, but um, it's a whole lifestyle that supports samadhi. And there's another sutta. It's the Great 40. I think it's 117, 117 in the Majjhima Nikaya. And it talks about how all other factors on the path, the other seven factors on the Noble Eightfold Path support samadhi. So working all the path factors supports that unification of mind. And so one thing too is I've been listening, I listened to Ajahn Brahm and Bhante Sujato and other teachers. And they often talk about how to just be really kind to our minds. Is it to just to summarize it and just to be patient and to work on the aspect of observation. So throughout the day, you might observe your mind and um, see when the mind is going off on, like we're saying, those unwholesome roots. Is anything arising out of these unwholesome roots throughout the day? Seeing irritation or seeing greed arise or seeing when the mind is like really distracted, that's a form of delusion. Um, and just bringing awareness to it, actually bringing awareness to um, the fact that the mind is scattered and going, oh, and so there's that quality of awareness there. And then can I bring that quality of awareness to, if whatever I'm doing, rather than so being aware of the distractedness or being aware of the irritation or being aware of the greed and the wanting, and then say, and being aware of the awareness and say, can I bring that awareness, um, focusing in on what I'm doing. So throughout the day, uh, just cultivating the awareness. And then when one sits on the cushion, then they've already done a lot of that work. And then it's easier for the awareness to be keen and then see what's arising in the mind, and then things can just kind of fade away more easily, whatever is arising, and that bringing the awareness again and again to the whatever object you're using. I don't know what object you're using of meditation, but the breath or the body, or uh if you're
Thank you.
doing, are
That's
you
really,
doing breath meditation or?
I'm doing breath meditation, but um, I think I missed that last step that you just mentioned where after I am very aware of what delusion is in my head, but I don't focus in on what I'm doing. I tend to kind of get lost in the delusion sometimes, or struggle with it instead of, like you said, to draw the mind in on what you're doing, and that we can let it go. So that's very helpful.
Yeah, through the day, to try to establish it through the day. I had Neonic has found the word. I want to look at that in a moment. I don't want to stop too early on this, but the thing is to just go, ah, I see if this is what's happening. Oh, like kind of like, and kind of congratulate yourself that, oh, I'm aware that I'm scattered. Oh, then this is what scatteredness feels like. And can I bring myself back to what I was doing? Can I direct that awareness, just kind of foster the aware part of it, and rejoice that, oh, I see. Oh, I see that I'm feeling irritated. Can I let go of it? This is how it feels in the body. Can I let go of it? And then instead of saying, oh, I'm a bad person for being irritated, or I'm a crummy meditator because I see my mind.
Yeah.
We're all crummy meditators. It's but if we say, we're ahead of the game with a lot of people, because
Oh gosh.
we so many people are just so unaware of how scattered, or they just, this is, they're just completely lost in what, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're making a very valiant
Effort.
effort, valiant effort. The fact that we're even trying to do this. So I'm gonna look and see what, and it's in the chat, or in the chat. Okay. Lamrim, yeah, Lamrim covers the detail of the 10 wholesome and unwholesome actions. And then the word suvinita doesn't appear in Vinaya. Closest word, suvinchita, well investigated, well analyzed, well trained, well educated. Somewhere I saw a form of it. Anyway, Suvinita does appear in later commentaries of the Vinaya. Oh, maybe that's where it was commentarial. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for looking that up. I and Yannicka will be entering retreat period soon, and is in a kind of transitioning as much as they can. Having a later start, unfortunately, because of all the things that have come up with our website, but that's an aside. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, so this work is hard work. And like I was saying, this is why I wanted to bring in this foundational, the wholesome and the unwholesome. This is foundational right view, and it can bring us all the way to arahantship. And that's what's underlying all the gradual training we're doing, including the work we do on the cushion. If we aren't keeping our precepts, if we aren't aware of the unwholesome arising and aware of when the wholesome is arising, then we're not going to make any progress. So I think I see Kim has taken is on camera now. So did you have something you wanted to say or a question?
Thank you. Um, I just occurred to me. I know my experience is aligns with this teaching uh, that it has to go this way in order to make progress, to create unification. It has to. What the Buddha is saying, that one has to renounce or has to have this view, this these this abandoning the unwholesome, or we can't uh, understand, or this is why the king was or prince was not able to see or be interested. And I guess that's my experience also, which I'm wondering, why is that? Is there, I just know it works and I trust for some reason, maybe that's what is in alignment with the way things are. It's in alignment with reality, behaving the way the Buddha instructed. The path is in alignment with reality or the Dhamma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's why it all creates the the conditions that can awaken. I'm guessing.
yeah. So I like what you said about abandoning the unwholesome and as being renunciation. That there were what we're renouncing is the unwholesome. And so whatever, whatever precepts we're keeping. So and to be bringing awareness to the roots of the unwholesome. It's really to dig deep. But I'm not sure what you were uh, wondering about. You said that I wonder why that's so. Were you answering your own question? Is that what you were doing?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I think I find it interesting. This maybe is springing this other thing I've wondered. Well, I just find it interesting that, and I just accept it. But what it is that the Buddha's saying this is unsatisfactory, this situation we're all in, and yet he has total loving kindness for it. I find that really a paradox. And
Uh,
that's quite a
uh,
high level of, I
uh-huh.
mean, to be able to love it and to just have this equanimity about this situation is, is to have no aversion for it, right? There's no grief or loss for this, but I'm getting off into something else. I think
Sounds like
it's,
yeah, it sounds like some of your ponderings,
yeah.
which are good. It's really good to reflect and think about the teachings. And this is what I was saying, like in the middle of the night, these connections are coming in like in my mind or early in the morning. So these kind of connecting. But I think what you were talking about with the Buddha having metta and but it's kind of we're in this big conundrum or pickle or something like that in samsara, and there, and he's talking about the Four Noble Truths, which is another understanding of right view. If you completely understand the Four Noble Truths, this is right view. And so understanding suffering, it frees us from suffering. So he's no longer suffering because he's not clinging and he's not wanting things to be different than they are. He's not wishing and veiling himself from reality and trying to pretend things are otherwise, which causes the cognitive dissonance, like this, because the way things actually are and the way we want them to be are just opposed to one another. But when we don't have that opposition, and we're just say, okay, this is samsara and this is the way it is. And also, how do I find happiness other than through the senses? That's the thing too. There's the seeking, always seeking through the senses for happiness, where we can find the contentment within. And this is why the Buddha has so much love and compassion, because he's seen his way through that. He's let go of this desire to satisfy himself. And but he is aware that other people suffer, so he has compassion. So he taught for uh until he passed away after his awakening. So yeah, so it's I don't know if this is answering your question, but yeah, that is important to reflect on. He wasn't all just about suffering. He was about us finding our way to be happy, that's not dependent on uh the senses, and the true happiness, and a lasting happiness, and a real freedom that comes from knowledge. So it's after 9 now, so I'm gonna close with the homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and then those who are on live can stay for further conversation. Araham Sama Sambuddho Bhagawa Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Thank you for joining. Now I'm gonna end the live stream. Thank you for those